Hello, everybody.
Hello, guys.
Welcome to the second to last video of the New York Film Festival. This is the new Christian Petzold film, Undine, which is a German film from the filmmaker Christian Petzold, I just said. He directed two of some of the most critically acclaimed films of the early 2010s. He did a film called Barbara and another film called Phoenix. Both of those films I have not seen yet. I know, blasphemy. If I'm going to review a Christian Petzold movie, I probably should have saw those two in advance, but I didn't. I was lazy. There's too many movies, all right? Leave me alone. I'm going to watch them. All right. So even though I haven't seen those films from him, I have seen a film from him. He did a film in 2007 called Yella, Yella. And it's a film about a woman who is trying to escape an abusive relationship. And it's pretty good. The acting is great. It's economically shot and edited. It's pretty interesting. It has some fantasy elements, which are a part which, bleeds into Undine. But the end, the twist was kind of like I saw it coming from a mile away. Didn't enjoy it. But overall, it's a good movie. I think you should see Yella if you haven't already. It's a pretty good time. But Undine, I would say, is not great. It's super duper okay. You remember in film school when they tried to hammer it in your head that you should start a scene in the middle of the scene?
Yeah.
So this movie starts out like that. It starts off in the middle of a breakup at a cafe, and the movie starts right before the threshold is crossed, which I found very interesting. And I was very much invested in the film in the beginning, and then as the film started to progress, it became immensely uninteresting. There's so much talk in this film about German architecture, and it's not there's parts of it where it's bleeding into a metaphor. There's one scene where the talk about the German architecture is described in a way that could be perceived as a metaphor, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, you're trying to hide that within all of this exposition. Good on you. But the rest of it is the main character, she's I forget what she does. She does tours of these miniatures of Berlin or something. It's hard to describe. We probably do have versions of this. It's like a tour guide, but it's a different type of tour guide, and she's trying to memorize her lines for her presentation to the tourists who come, and we get all these explanations about German architecture, just so boring, and they try to fit it in with character, and it just doesn't work very well. Also, there's a fantasy element that I had no idea was even in the movie. They tried to imply it, but to really understand what it is, you have to know German fairy tales for it to be deep. So it's basically The Shape of Water, but not as interesting or committed to the fantasy elements at all. That's the best way I can describe it. And it's sort of a miracle that the performances are good, because the characters themselves are so one note, and all the time that was spent on the German architecture could have been used on actually developing characters that are three-dimensional. So Undine, I would say, is not as good as Yella, and I will see Phoenix and Barbara soon, and when I see them, I might put them on my list of those years, and then I'll talk about how much I like those movies, and I'll shit on Undine again. And and I'm giving Undine a 5 out of 10.
Ooh.
Yeah. It just lost me at a certain point, and even though it's 90 minutes, it didn't do enough. And I don't understand the critical acclaim for this film at all. But whenever Christian Petzold comes out with another film, I'll definitely watch it. So not everyone hits.
Yeah.
Even Christopher Nolan had Dunkirk. I will never miss an opportunity to shit on Dunkirk. Okay. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you agree or disagree, tell us in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share with your friends. Do all the things. The Matrix video exists. Bye.
Bye, guys.